Well, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on which part of the world you're joining us from. Coach Kevin here, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'd like to do is share some things with you that I think will be helpful, especially if you're new with us, to know what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you here for a moment and point out some things. First thing I'd like to point out to you is that we actually have a Facebook group that matches our meetup group. It even has the same name, Live Law of Attraction Money, Wealth, and Success Training. And we invite you to come join us. How do you find us? Just log into your Facebook account, look for wherever your search function is, and start typing in Live Law of Attraction Money, Wealth, and Success Training, and you'll find us. The other way that you can find us is you can go directly to facebook.com/groups, as in plural, /money manifesting coach. Okay. So that is facebook.com/groups/money manifesting coach, as one word. Okay. Now, why would you want to come join us in the first place? Well, first of all, let's say you're here with us today and you like what it is that you hear. However, there's some things you want to review. Well, as long as I remember to hit the record button, which I did today, this Zoom meeting's being recorded. Typically within 24 to 48 hours, we will get it posted into the group like you see here. So we've got these recordings posted into the group for you, okay? The other reason that you might want to be a part of this group, and you probably need to be, is because from time to time, we're going to change material that we're going through. And if it's owned by somebody else, it's on a particular website, I will send you the website so you can go get it for free. However, sometimes I'm unable to do that. So it's something that I have that I want to share with you. Well, when that's the case, I will post it right into the group. Actually, very specifically, for instance, today, that is the case. We're going to take a little detour from what we've been doing the last few days and go down a slightly different path today. As I was meditating and praying on what it is that should be very top. It is the very top post because I just put it in there before the meeting. So again, come join us. I would go there now and join it. Go directly to facebook.com/groups/money manifesting coach, or just go into Facebook and type in Live Law of Attraction Money, Wealth, and Success Training. Okay. And then go grab this particular file here so that you can have it for yourself. You could use it to follow along. However, even having it for yourself is going to be more important. What we're going through today is going to be something that you're going to want to go through more than one time. And you are going to want to make it a part of your life if you truly want to have the wealth and the financial success that you desire. Okay. There's other successes too that you'll receive. But if you are not understanding the decision-making process and how those people that truly manifest what they want in their life make their decisions, then you are likely not going to get what you want. And if you don't get what you want, you're going to be a little disappointed, as you might be already. Maybe there are many things that you feel that you've wanted, but you haven't made the decision process part of your life, and you haven't made the correct decision process. You might feel like you made a decision, but after we go through this today, you might want to question whether that is true or not. Okay. So this particular piece of material, I've got it here pulled up, ready to go. And it was actually put together and written by the person who trained me. I don't know if you're familiar with Bob Proctor or not. However, if you've seen the movie, The Secret, or read the book, The Secret, Bob Proctor is heavily highlighted in both of those. Okay. The other way you might know him is through his own book, You Were Born Rich. And you may have seen him just by looking up law of attraction or how the mind works or the subconscious mind or other ways. But many people are familiar with Bob, some aren't. But Bob will be 87 in July. He has been following the principles of the law of attraction intentionally. The law of attraction is always working, whether we know it or not. But he's been doing it intentionally since actually for 60 years. And he's been teaching it to people for the last 51 years. So for 51 years, Bob Proctor has been essentially a law of attraction coach and trainer. He now, if you want him to train you one-on-one, you will pay $1 million or more for about 6 months of training. So he's been around, been there, done that. In a group setting, if you want to be a coach like I am, we paid $30,000 to be trained to be coaches for his programs. And I've actually now been a coach and facilitator for a couple of years. I have my own clientele, and they're having great successes. So I love what I do. I love helping people like you. And I just felt very strongly today that this was the direction that we need to go. Because the truth of the matter is, you did not join us today for entertainment purposes. At least I don't think you did. Okay. You didn't join us.
Kevin, your sound went out.
Probably something that you would like to have happen differently, or you wouldn't be here in the first place. You might be somebody who has never made $100,000 before, and you would like to break that six-figure income barrier, so to speak. I remember once upon a time when that was me, when I was first introduced to, and this goes back to early 2006, I was introduced to Bob Proctor and his material back in 2006. I was asked 2 years ago by Bob Proctor and his team to become a coach. Because I've used this material successfully and have had they asked if I would like to be a teacher and trainer for it also. Okay, so, but I will tell you, when you learn the principles, you have to make the decision first. You have to make the decision about what it is that you want to have happen. And I wanted a big change. And when I made that decision, that's when the change actually happened. Now, if you guys are going into chat right now, I'm not paying attention to it at the moment. Okay. I am going to do this part of what I'm doing, and then I'm going to leave about 10, 15 minutes at the end of what we're doing today, like I always do, for us to have a discussion. You'll be able to share what you would like to share, and you'll be able to ask whatever questions that you would like to ask. But for now, let me kind of roll with what's going on and stay on track with that. Okay. Let's go with decision, and I will add some commentary where I feel it might be helpful or appropriate, and hopefully everybody can see my screen. Let me check. I'll check chat just for one moment, because I know there was some yesterday. The sound keeps going out. Okay, I apologize about that. Looks like my internet connection is okay at the moment. There's been some work being done on the internet around here the last couple of days, and it's been affecting that. So I apologize. Hopefully you can hear me well now. What you can do is go get the file and follow along. And then that way, if you miss me or I miss you for a moment, if the sound goes out for a moment, at least for now, you'll be able to see the screen. Decision by Bob Proctor. There is a single mental move you can make, which in a millisecond, how quickly? In a millisecond, will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter, and it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. We have a name for this magic mental activity. It is called decision. And most of you avoid making decisions, by the way. You think you make them, but you avoid them. And you don't make them like the people Bob's going to talk about, but you're going to learn about this now. Decisions, or lack of them, are responsible for the breaking or making of many a career. Individuals who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinions of others. That is huge. A lot of times you're trying to make a decision and you go to someone that doesn't actually have the experience necessary to give a qualified opinion. You just ask them because it's who you know, and they have no business giving you advice. You really have no business asking them for the advice, okay? You need to learn to trust your intuition, inspiration, and revelation that comes to you when you connect yourself through the law of attraction with God and the universe, and you will make great decisions that way. Okay, individuals who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinions of others are the same people whose annual incomes fall into the 6 and 7 figure income category. That's exactly what happened for me. I went from an under 6 figure income category, made a decision to get some training from Bob and his team. This was back in 06. And literally in less than 3 months, instead of making $5,000 to $6,000 a month and working 50 to 60 hours a week, I had bumped up to only working 15 to 20 hours a week. So I say bumped up, I actually reduced my hours by 2/3. And my average income went up to about $50,000 a month. Now it wasn't 50,000 every month over the following 8 months of that year. So I had January, February, March, and April. I had received the training in February. In April, my income stayed at that $5,000 to $6,000 a month that it had been for about the previous 4 years. But when the leap happened, it jumped up over the next following 8 months of the year and averaged over 50. I had a month in there that was $88,000. I had a month that was 30 something. But when I took the average, it went to just a little bit over $50,000 a month. So that was huge, but it was because I made a decision to get certain kind of help, which was to find somebody who understood how the laws of the universe worked and how to reprogram my subconscious mind for the success I wanted. I already had plenty of vehicles to work with. I understood some things about entrepreneurship and business and real estate investing. However, I didn't have the success I wanted. I needed to be retrained and reprogrammed to do it correctly. However, that was not going to happen by just going to YouTube University and trying to read articles on the internet. I had to make a decision. I made a decision to change. And through that decision, I got the training. And through that training, I got reprogrammed. And through that reprogramming, I nearly 10x'd my income for the year. Okay. Decisions, or lack of them, are responsible for breaking or making many a career. Individuals, I know I'm repeating, I'm doing this on purpose. Individuals who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinions of others are the same people whose annual incomes fall into the 6 and 7 figure category. That's what happened to me. However, it's not just your income that is affected by decisions. Your whole life is dominated by this power. The health of your mind and body, the well-being of your family, your social life, the type of relationships you develop. All are dependent upon your ability to make sound decisions. You would think anything as important as decision-making, when it has such far-reaching power, would be taught in every school, but it's not. To compound the problem, not only is decision-making missing from the curriculum of our educational institutions, up until recently, it's also been absent from most of the corporate training and human resource programs available. So how's a person expected to develop this mental ability? Quite simply, you must do it on your own. However, I think it's important to understand that it's not difficult to learn how to make wise decisions. Armed with the proper information and by subjecting yourself to certain disciplines, you can become a very effective decision maker. You can virtually eliminate conflict and confusion in your life by becoming proficient at making decisions. Decision making brings order to your mind, and of course, this order is then reflected in your objective world, your results. James Allen may have been thinking of decisions when he wrote, "We think in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass." No one can see you making decisions, but they will almost always see the results of your decisions. The person who fails to develop their ability to make decisions is doomed because indecision sets up internal conflicts, which can, without warning, escalate into all out mental and emotional wars. Psychiatrists have a name to describe these internal wars. It is ambivalence. My Oxford Dictionary tells me that ambivalence is the coexistence in one person of opposite feelings toward the same objective. You do not require a doctorate degree in psychiatry to understand that you are going to have difficulty in your life by permitting your mind to remain in an ambivalent state for any period of time. The person who does not, or who does permit it to exist, will become very despondent and virtually incapable of any type of productive activity. It is obvious that anyone who finds themselves in such a mental state is not living. At best, they're merely existing. A decision or a series of decisions would change everything. The very basic law of the universe is create, or a very basic law of the universe is create or disintegrate. Indecision causes disintegration. Let me repeat that. Indecision causes disintegration. How often have you heard a person say, "I don't know what to do"? How often have you heard yourself say, "What should I do"? Think about some of the indecisive feelings you and virtually everyone on this planet experience from time to time. Love them, leave them, quit, stay, do it, don't do it, go bankrupt, no, don't, go to work, watch TV, buy it, don't buy it, say it, don't say it, tell them, don't tell them. Everyone on occasion experiences these feelings of ambivalence. If it happens to you frequently, decide right now to stop it. The cause of ambivalence is indecision, but we must keep in mind that the truth is not always in the appearance of things. Indecision is a cause of ambivalence. However, it is a secondary cause. It is not the primary cause. I've been studying the behavior of people who have become very proficient at making decisions for over a quarter century. They all have one thing in common. They have a very strong self-image, a high degree of self-esteem. They may be as different as night is today in numerous other respects, but they certainly possess confidence. Low self-esteem or a lack of confidence is the real culprit here. Decision makers are not afraid of making an error. If and when they make an error in their decision or fail at something, they have the ability to shrug it off. They learn from the experience, but they will never submit to the failure. Every decision maker was either fortunate enough to have been raised in an environment where decision making was part of their upbringing, or they developed the ability themselves at a later date. And by the way, you can too. They are aware of something that everyone who hopes to live a full life must understand. Decision making is something you cannot avoid. That is the cardinal principle of decision making. Decide right where you are with whatever you've got. This is precisely why most people never master this important aspect of life. They permit their resources to dictate if and when a decision will or can be made. You have to decide you want something now. It doesn't mean when it says with whatever you got, it doesn't mean if you think you have enough. You just decide based on where you're at with what you got that you want to be, do, or have something. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter what your resources are. God and the universe, law of attraction are not going to be very helpful to you if you're in a state of ambivalence, if you have not made up your mind 100%. So you don't make up your mind based upon what you have. You don't look at your bank account to make up your mind. You don't look at your skill set to make up your mind. You don't look at your environment to make up your mind. You decide what you want to be, do, or have. Decide right where you are with whatever you've got. You've now decided this is what I want. And this is precisely why most people never master this important aspect of life. They permit their resources to dictate if and when a decision will or can be made. Well, when I have, I will. Bull crap. I'm just telling you right now. That is a joke. That is a lie you are telling yourself. I will do it when I've saved up enough money. I will do it when I've learned how. I will do it when I move to a different place. I will do it. Bull, you will not. Because your subconscious mind has been programmed to avoid doing what it is that you want to do. When you really want something and you allow your subconscious mind to win out on you choosing not to do it, even though it's what you really want to be, do, or have, you are actually programming your subconscious mind to sabotage you every time you come up against something you want to be, do, or have. And you have to make the decision to decide right where you are with whatever you've got. It doesn't mean that you have to have it. Your decision is not based on what you got. Your decision to have what you want is based on where you are. And then God in the universe will help you acquire what's necessary to do it. When John Kennedy asked Wernher von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth, his answer was simple and direct: the will to do it. President Kennedy never asked if it was possible. He never asked if they could afford it, or any one of 1,000 other questions, all of which would have been, at the time, been valid questions. President Kennedy made a decision. He said, we will put man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the end of the decade. The fact that it had never been done before in all the hundreds of thousands of years of human history was not even a consideration. He decided where he was with what he had. The objective was accomplished in his mind the second he made the decision. Let me repeat that. The objective was accomplished in his mind the second he made the decision, and God in the universe started to step in and help. It was only a matter of time, which is governed by natural law, God in the universe, before the goal was manifested in form for the whole world to see. I was just hours ago in an office with 3 people. We were discussing the purchase of shares in a company. I was selling, they were buying. After a reasonable amount of time, one of the partners asked me when I wanted a decision. I replied, right now. I said, you already know what you want to do. There was some discussion about money. I pointed out that money had nothing to do with it. Once you make the decision, you will find the money every time. If that is the only benefit you receive, this is how he runs his life. I explained to 2 of these people that I never let money enter my mind when I'm deciding whether I will or will not do something. Whether I can afford it or not is never a consideration. Whether I want it or not is the
I can't hear you. The sound is going out again.
If you need money, you will attract it. I am aware that there are any number of people who will say that is absurd. You can't just decide to do something if you do not have the necessary resources. And that's fine if that's the way they choose to think. I see that as a very limiting way of thinking. In truth, it's probably not thinking at all. It is very likely an opinion being expressed that was inherited from another older member of their family who did not think either. Thinking is very important. Decision makers are great thinkers. Do you ever give money who has made a study of the great thinkers, the great decision makers, the achievers of history, will know that they rarely agreed on anything when it came to the study of human life. However, there is one point on which they were in complete and unanimous refuse to let unhappy, negative people or circumstances affect you. The greatest stumbling block you will encounter when making important decisions in your life is circumstance. We let circumstance get us off the hook when we should give it everything we've got. Let me repeat that. We let circumstance get us off the hook when we should be giving it everything we've got. More dreams are shattered and more goals lost because of circumstance than any other single factor. How often have you caught yourself saying, I would like to do or have this, but I can't because? Whatever follows because is the circumstance. Circumstances may cause a detour in your life, but you should never permit them to stop you from making important decisions. Napoleon said, circumstances, I make them. The next time you hear someone say they would like to vacation in Paris or purchase a particular automobile, but they can't because they have no money, explain that they don't need the money until they make the decision to go to Paris or purchase the car. When the decision is made, they will figure out a way to get the amount needed. They always do. Many misguided individuals try something once or twice, and if they do not hit the bullseye, they feel they're a failure. Failing does not make anyone a failure, but quitting most certainly does, and quitting is a decision. By following that form of reasoning, you would have to say when you make a decision to quit, you make a decision to fail. Every day in America, you hear about a baseball player signing a contract which will pay him a few $1 million a year. You should try to keep in mind that that same player misses the ball more often than he hits it when he steps up to the plate. Everyone remembers Babe Ruth for the 714 home runs he hit, and they rarely mention that he struck out 1,330 times. Charles F. Kettering said, and I quote, when you're inventing, if you flunk 999 times and succeed once, you're in. That is true of just about any activity you can name, but the world would soon forget your failures in the light of your achievements. Don't worry about failing. It will toughen you up and get you ready for your big win. Winning is a decision. Many years ago, Helen Keller was asked if she thought there was anything worse than being blind. She quickly replied that there was something much worse. She said the most pathetic person in the world is a person who has their sight but no vision. I agree with Helen Keller. At 91, J.C. Penney was asked how his eyesight was. He replied that his sight was failing, but his vision had never been better. That's really great, isn't it? When a person has no vision of a better way of life, they automatically shut themselves in a prison. They limit themselves to a life without hope. This frequently happens when a person has seriously tried on a number of occasions to win, only to meet with failure time after time. Repeated failures can damage a person's self-image and cause them to lose sight of their potential. They, therefore, make a decision to give up and resign themselves to their fate. Taking the first step in predicting your own prosperous future, build a mental picture of exactly how you would like to live. Make a firm decision to hold on to that vision, and positive ways to improve everything will begin to flow into your mind. Many people get a beautiful vision of how they would like to live, but because they cannot see how they're going to make it happen, they let the vision go. If they knew how they were going to get it or do it, they would have a plan, not a vision. There is no inspiration in a plan, but there sure is in a vision. When you get the vision, freeze frame it with a decision, and don't worry about how you will do it or where the resources will come from. Charge your decision with enthusiasm. That is important. Refuse to worry about how it will happen. Advanced decision making. We make advanced bookings when we fly somewhere. This is quite common. We make advanced reservations to eliminate any confusion or problems when the time arrives for the journey. We do the same with renting a car for the same reason. Think of the problems you will eliminate by making many of the decisions you must make well in advance. I'll give you an excellent example. As I'm preparing this message, it is Ramadan, a time where all practicing Muslims fast. I was in an office yesterday in Kuala Lumpur and was asked if I would like a cup of tea or coffee. I replied that I'd appreciate a cup of tea. The lady next to me was then asked if she would like a cup, and she replied, "No, I'm fasting." When she was asked, she did not have to decide whether she wanted anything or not. Whether she looks good, I wonder if I should. The decision is made in advance. I made a decision a long time ago that I would not participate in discussions of why something cannot be done. The only compensation you will ever receive for participating in or giving energy to that type of discussion is something you do not want. Let me repeat this. This is so powerful, and yet so many of us do the opposite of what Bob's doing here. I made a decision a long time, and that's because we haven't decided. I made a decision a long time ago that I would not participate in discussions of why something cannot be done. The only compensation you will ever receive for participating in or giving energy to that type of discussion is something you do not want. I always find it amazing at the number of seemingly intelligent people who persist in dragging you into these negative brainstorming sessions. That's exactly what it is. It's a negative brainstorming session. In one breath, these people tell you they seriously want to accomplish a particular objective. And in the next breath, they begin talking about why they can't. Think of how much more life they would enjoy by making a decision that they will no longer participate in that type of negative energy. The humanistic psychologist, Dr. Abraham Maslow, who devoted his life to studying self-actualized people, stated very clearly that we should follow our inner guide. Let God and the universe give you intuition, inspiration, and revelation. Okay? We should follow our inner guide and not be swayed by the opinion of others or outside circumstances. Maslow's research showed that the decision makers in
Can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can't now. It just keeps going out. We're missing a lot.
Yeah, hopefully you're following all along with what I'm reading though. I know the internet's being worked on out here. Dr. Maslow recorded that these superior performers had values. Those qualities in their personalities they considered to be worthwhile and important. Their values were not imposed by society, parents, or other people in their lives. They did make their own decisions, like their work. They chose and developed their values themselves. Your life is important, and at its best, life is short. You have the potential to do anything you choose and to do it well, but you must make decisions. And when the time for a decision arrives, you must make your decision where you are with what you've got. Let me leave you with the words of two great decision makers, William James and Thomas Edison. William James suggested that, compared to what we ought to be, we are making use of only a small part of our physical and mental resources. Stating this concept broadly, the human individual thus lives far within his limits. He possesses powers of various sorts, which he habitually fails to use. Years later, Thomas Edison said, and I quote, "If we all did the things we're capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. By making a simple decision, the greatest minds of the past are available to you. You can literally learn how to turn your wildest dreams into reality. Put this valuable information to use." So here is our opportunity to interact and discuss. Oh, looks like several people joined us since we got started. Awesome, awesome, awesome to have you here with us. So let me briefly explain what we do at this point. This is your opportunity to share what you'd like to share or ask whatever questions you would like to ask. So what is actually appropriate for this time? Well, definitely anything that you want to share around what we just went through about decision, that would be awesome. Okay, anything that you learned, anything that you were reminded of, maybe times in your life where you made a decision and you stuck with it, and then God in the universe actually helped you get what you want. Okay. The other thing that would be appropriate would be to share around what it is that we've been studying in the past, because we've been together now, we're into our fourth week. What else would be if you, and again, it's related to decision, you made the decision that you wanted something and you followed the principles and it actually showed up in your life. Those are great stories to share. Questions, what's appropriate to ask? Well, anything around what we just went through today, anything around what we have gone through over the last just about 4 weeks, and or anything in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life. Now, let me get a quick sip of water here. Mouth's getting dry again. One of the things I highly recommend that you do is you really, and I say you, I had to do it, okay? We all have to do this if we want what we want. You don't have to do anything. You could just be here and be an observer. One, I highly recommend you be a participant. But number two, your way. Okay? You need to make that decision. Do you want it? And then why you want it, and not be ashamed of it. You probably, like myself, like I had in the past, particularly some programming going on. I had programming that kept me at $5,000 to $6,000 a month, working 50 to 60 hours a week. I'd learned how the laws of the universe function in relationship to manifestation, and I learned how to reprogram my subconscious mind. I got coaching and training, okay? Some of you won't be willing to do that. I did. And I guarantee I paid more for it probably than I would ask you. I coach people. People pay me $20,000 or more to coach them one-on-one for 6 months. Group coaching, $5,000 or more to coach in a group setting for 6 months. And then I have kind of an introductory, get yourself launched with the law of attraction type of training that goes on for 3 weeks for $1,000. Every one of those things, I have made a decision, okay? We are now coming up on June pretty quick here. By the first week of June, after the first week has ended, every one of those prices is going up because everybody that I coach is having way more success than what they paid for. There's nothing wrong with that. I love it. I love that people are succeeding. I want people to succeed. But that $5,000, people are literally multiplying their income by 3 to 10 times, sometimes in less than 12 months, like I did. And I found another coach very similar to me who was trained by Bob, who's now a friend of mine. She charges double and she gets it. And the people are getting the results. Okay. So I know the information and being coached is totally worth it. But what I'm saying is I've made a decision. Every time I've made a decision like that, I've had this quantum leap in what happens in my life. You might want to ask me about group coaching now and pay $5,000 for it instead of 10, because that's what it's going to turn into. It's not going to go from 5 to 6. It's going from 5 to 10 because others have done it. And as long as the clients are getting multiple value for what they're doing, which every one of my clients has gotten multiple value of anything I've ever charged them, as long as they followed through and did the work I asked them to do. And that's the caveat. They've got to actually do what I tell them to do. But everybody who has done that has been way more than pleased with their results through the process and by the time that we're done. So again, I'm sharing that with you, my decision. If you'd like to discuss it, I think group coaching is actually the best format. One-on-one takes more time, and it's going to be $30,000 anyway. The group coaching at 10,000 will be 10. It's 5 for the moment. So you would be the last group of people that get the opportunity to do that. But if you were to ask me for it, all you need to do is send me an email and we can have a discussion about how it works. Take my name. You can see it on the screen. It's Kevin Sparks. Throw the word coach in front of it. Okay. So it's Coach Kevin Sparks at Gmail. I think you guys can remember that. Coach Kevin Sparks at gmail.com. If you want to discuss multiplying your income 3 to 10 times over the next 12 months, and you seriously want to make the decision to do that, then let's have a discussion. Send me an email and also put your phone number in it so we can have a call together. Okay, so I'm sharing the process right now of having made a decision. What I would like to know from you guys is, again, what questions or what would you like to share in relationship? We can go over the other things, but in particular, in relationship to decisions that we make would be awesome to discuss. Because I think almost everybody on here has had something cool happen to them when the decision got made, even if you didn't know how it was going to come together. If you'd like to share those things, that would be awesome. But any questions in relationship to that or manifesting more money or wealth in your life is totally okay. I know we're going to be over a little bit today, but guess what? That is fine. I'm going to stick with you for about 10, 15 minutes right now if you want, if you do ask questions or share things. If you need to go, no problem, because this has been recorded. You can go into the Facebook group and just review the last few minutes of what we're doing. But I felt very strongly, I don't know who it is who's on here today that was supposed to hear this message, but I felt that I was supposed to pivot. I was supposed to discuss decisions and help people move forward. Hopefully that's you. Hopefully you're the person that is going to take the decision-making process and use it as a tool for your benefit instead of being in ambivalence and actually using it against yourself. So what you do now is, if you want to share something or ask questions, just come off mute and start sharing what you want to share, and we'll take you in the order that you do that.
Hi, Kevin. It's Monica.
Hi, Monica.
So it sounds to me that in order to make a good decision, that you have to begin with reprogramming your subconscious mind.
No, because you'd actually have to make the decision to reprogram your subconscious mind. It's not about your subconscious mind being reprogrammed and then you start making good decisions. No, what you do is you trust that God in the universe will help you make those decisions. If there is something that you desire, okay, and you want something, you want to be, do, or have something, and I mean you really want that. First of all, I wouldn't be too concerned if that is a good idea or not. You might be concerned about it because you may not know the way to make it happen yet. That's where your concerns come up from. God and the universe don't have those concerns. What I do when I decide I want something is I decide that I want it. And then what I do is I go to God and the universe for confirmation. This based upon, what I would like to be, do, or have, God, this is what I have chosen. However, I know that you're smarter than I am. You know more than I am, and you know what's for my highest and best good. So this is the decision I've made. If it is meant to be something else, then I know that you will bring something better into my life. So I would like to have this happen or something better. And what's really cool about that? The something better happens from time to time, and it's always better than what I asked for in the first place. But if God and the universe don't just flat out knock it down, it's like then something better is coming. I love the something better. It also helps me maintain my faith. So I'm not going to make a decision like, okay, I'm going to tomorrow go, and I'm being way out there, right? Tomorrow I'm going to go murder this person. I've made the decision to take this person out because they've just been awful to me in my life. So I've got everything ready to go. So either tomorrow I'm going to take this person out or something better. That obviously would not be a decision to bring to God in the universe, right? That I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm doing that as an extreme to go, hey, look, the desires that you have inside yourself actually come from God in the universe in the first place, because they want your progression. The feelings that you have to be, to do, and to have things are not bad feelings and thoughts. They are the spirit inside of you knowing that there's more for you. Now, you may not know exactly how to go about everything, but if you want to live in a different neighborhood in a nicer house, God and the universe are probably going to support that. You want to drive a car that's nicer, more reliable, and quits breaking on you, I think God and the universe are more than happy to provide that. We think that we should place limits. They are not placing limits. They want us to have progression. So if we're making decisions that are incorrect by putting in this or something better, you'll be guided to the something better, or the something better will actually show up. And also, if you're asking for something that really isn't good for you, you will have what I'll refer to as kind of this stupor of thought. You'll kind of end up forgetting about the idea in the first place, and you won't really be going after it. You probably won't even have made an actual decision for it. But when you want to actually change your life, you can't be wishy-washy about it. You are going to have a change in self-image to receive what you want, probably. That's part of the reprogramming process. But to decide, I want my life to be like this, just because you don't know how to get there, that's the cool part. God in the universe will help you get there. That's what they want for you. They're not here to get in your way. They're not the ones trying to slow you down or stop you. They're not the ones making you fearful and concerned and worried. I don't know your beliefs, but how often in scripture does God say, fear not, for I'm with you? Great. I mean, I'm not saying I'm always perfect at that, but it's like, yeah, you're right. Fear is actually inverted faith. Fear is actually faith in what you don't want to have happening. That's what fear means. Fear means you actually believe in the opposite of what you want is going to happen to you. And anything that you believe strongly will manifest. So we want to actually put our faith and trust in God in the universe and these feelings we have to change ourselves and to be, do, and have more. But we make our decisions way too often, or we make no decision, but we make them based upon where we're at today versus where we want it to be. And God and the universe want us to be, do, and have more than we currently are, because they know who we are on the inside and the progression that we can go through to live a better life. Not only here while we're living on planet Earth, but I don't think we're going to poof out of existence. So they want us to continue to progress even after we live here. So we can also chill out a little bit and not take this life too seriously. You know, if I fail, oh my gosh, no, it's not like that. God and the universe will forgive our failures. They'll forgive our mistakes if we ask, and then we can forgive ourselves for our failures and mistakes and move on and decide what we want. Once we've decided what we want life to be like, make the decision that that is absolutely what your life is now, and that it will manifest in its physical form. So if nobody's asking anything, or maybe you can't hear me. Can you hear me? At least somebody tell me if you can hear me.
I can hear you, Kevin.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I just had a little thing pop up, said my internet was a little unstable. So hopefully I wasn't talking. Could you hear what I was telling you, Monica?
Yes, and it was very helpful. I was writing a lot of stuff down. Thank you.
Okay, I was a little concerned there that I was talking to myself again. Did I scare everybody with today's lesson? You're like, I don't know if I want to talk, man, because then I got to decide stuff in my life.
Hi, this is Lily.
Hi, Lily.
Hi. I thought that was like really, really powerful because it's a simple thing. Just make a decision. But I realized when I was listening to it that a lot of things I do not make a decision. I kind of think about doing, but I don't take the step of making a decision. And that's, I think, a lot of times is why that doesn't happen. Because I had experienced before that I want to do something and I got and do it without really like having money or having anything, you know, and just happened. But I feel like just right now, like I'm stuck in like taking a decision of buying a house. I know I have good credit. I have money to make the payment. I have money to make the down payment, but because of the real estate right now, it's kind of like weird. I'm like, should I do that? Should I not do that? You know, I'm like, I didn't take a decision.
Right. You still can, by the way, Lily. If you make the decision, the way will open up. See, every house on planet Earth can be not for sale today. They're all not for sale. Like nobody wants to sell it today. You make the decision and the right one will be yours. You're not taking it away from somebody else. That person in their life is already trying to make a change too. They just haven't announced to the world that they want to move yet. And there's no need for them to do so. But you don't need to be concerned about any of that until you actually decide that you are going to have a new house. Like I'm buying a new house, and this is, you know, in a general sense, what I want. So here's the neighborhoods I like. Here's the things about the house that I like. Here's what it has. You know, it has pool, jacuzzi. It has a big island in the kitchen. Whatever it is you like. You don't have to like what I like, right? But you decide what it is that you want and the features and benefits of that thing. And you go in your imagination and start living in that house, but you also have the intention, not just to daydream, but for it to be real. And God in the universe will provide the resources to get it if you don't have them. And also they will provide an actual house that fits. And if you say this or something better, that's awesome too, because if you think you find one and it doesn't work out, get excited because a better one is probably going to happen a few days or weeks from now. That's happened to me multiple times, not just with homes, with other things. So, and there are things that I've received that were not available. I mean, like literally a house that my wife and I went to go stay in we took a 6-month essentially vacation somewhere. And we knew where we wanted to be, what area and all this other stuff and where we wanted to live. And we did not see anything popping up that we could stay in for that long. So we didn't go, okay, we're not going to do that. What we did is we scheduled everything to do it. And literally the day before we were leaving to go there, one of them opened up and said, hey, the person that was coming is not going to be here. And this is now available. And the price was even lower than we expected. And the neighborhood was nicer than we expected. So this or something better completely happened. But it showed up at the last minute only because we kept faithful to the decision we had made. If we had backed off and said, let's wait a couple more weeks, that wouldn't have happened. The decision was made. We're going. It's December 28th. We are getting into a vehicle. We've rented a storage unit out there, and we're going into it with our stuff for the next 6 months that we want to take with us. It was not available. There was hardly anything available at the time. And the one we ended up with was nicer than what we expected.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. I thought that I needed to listen that today because I feel like I have to make a decision. Not only that, and all this stuff in my life as well. I just have to make a decision and go for it.
Absolutely. And if you guys and gals are stuck, do what I did. You find someone like me. It doesn't have to be me, but I'm extremely good at this. Find somebody like me to coach you through it. Take whatever your current income is and multiply it by 3 to 10 times. And if that were to happen over the next 12 months, would that be worth $5,000 to you? That's the way to look at it. If my income multiplied 3 to 10 times over the next 12 months, would it be worth $5,000? Would I exchange $5,000 for my income multiplying 3 to 10 times? Now you may say, well, there's no guarantee. Every one of my clients that do what I ask them to do, they end up with that happening. So far, so good for 2+ years. You don't have to believe me, but that just means you don't believe that you'll follow through with what I say. That's your own concern. But if you want to have that discussion and you want to get your life to boost out of here, to have a quantum leap instead of moving along like a turtle, because that's what my life was, going along like a turtle, then email me, send me your phone number, and let's have a conversation. Coach Kevin Sparks at Gmail. Coach Kevin Sparks at Gmail. Say, yes, I would like to multiply my income 3. Now, if you're unemployed, okay, well, let's take what you used to make, right? You don't want to multiply 0 by 10 because that would be 0, right? But you get the point. It's not just about the money. Other things will happen in your life, okay? But some of you guys really need somebody to give you that boost. You need somebody that sees your blind spots, and you need somebody that you can talk to every single week, which is what you have the opportunity to do working together. So I would love to help you do that. Maybe somebody on here is supposed to hear that message. I don't know. I'm not saying, Lily, you have to do that to get your house or whatever.
Yeah.
But it certainly could be very, very, very helpful to you. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? Yeah. Okay. Somebody else's, this house thing, right? House, decisions. Well, I will definitely, in the process of coaching, go through more than just this on helping you make your decisions. That's part of what's holding most people back. You don't have to have even decided everything you want. You're probably here today because you want different, okay? Because whatever it is that's going on right now in your life isn't just completely satisfactory any longer. That's why you're here. So anyhow, if you would like to make that kind of change, reach out to me. And of course, love having you here with us every Monday through Friday. Any final thoughts or questions before we go? All right. Everybody, you have an amazing weekend, and I will look forward to seeing you all again on Monday.
Thank you.
You're
Kevin.
welcome.